Welcome back, students. This is my third lecture, again on the cardiovascular system from the subject Human Anatomy and Physiology, BP 101T. So in this third lecture, we will go through the conducting system of heart and its regulation, means how your system or your heart is working and how the heart is regulated. Fine. So in this lecture, what we will go through is, we will see the conducting system of your heart or how your heart is working. Along with the conducting system of heart, we will also go through the definition of blood pressure and how the blood pressure is regulated in our body. Fine. So first we will go through the conducting system of heart. So basically, conducting system means how your heart is working. Your heart is beating, so how the heart is beating? It must be some type of electrical activity that is getting initiated, and due to that electrical activity your heart is beating. Fine. So the source of electrical activity is the certain specialized quality of cardiac muscle fibers, and these muscle fibers are autorhythmic fibers. Autorhythmic means they can be excited by their own. They do not need any external influence to get excited. Fine. So the source of electrical activity in the specialized cardiac muscle fiber are autorhythmic fibers. So basically, this excitation is carried away from the first point, that is termed as SA node or sinoatrial node. Fine. That is the SA node or sinoatrial node. So the cardiac excitation or cardiac stimulation begins or starts at the sinoatrial node, and this sinoatrial node is located in the right atrium. In your right atrium, that is just inferior and lateral to the opening of the vena cava, that to be superior vena cava. Fine. So the point that is present exactly inferior and lateral to the superior vena cava in your heart, that is in your right atrium, is termed as SA node or sinoatrial node. So here the stimulation begins, and this stimulation or spontaneous excitation of your heart is termed as depolarization or the pacemaker potential. Sometimes we also term the SA node as the pacemaker. Fine. So here the spontaneous depolarization is pacemaker potential. So with each action potential, the SA node propagates or transfers the electrical activity to both the atria, that is to the right atria as well as to the left atria. Fine. So this picture you can see here, this is the first point, that is the SA node. This SA node is present inferior and lateral to your superior vena cava. This is our superior vena cava, and below this you have SA node in your right atrium. This is right atrium, right ventricle and left ventricle. Fine. So this is the first step where your excitation begins, SA node. Fine. Once your SA node is being depolarized, the conduction process is carried forward to AV node, that is just below the SA node, and it is present at the interarterial septum, that is the septum in between your both the atria, right and left atria, in between your right and left atria, that is your atrioventricular septum. Once your depolarization potential reaches your AV node, further it stimulates your bundle of His. This is the next point, that is atrioventricular bundle or the bundle of His. That is the next point where your action potential reaches. Fourth point is the right and left bundle branches. That is, your action potential enters both right side and left side of your ventricular septum. It stimulates the interventricular septum to both the sides, towards the right side and towards the left side. And further, where there is the large diameter Purkinje fibers which can rapidly conduct the electrical activity towards the upside region, that is towards the ventricular myocardium. Fine. So, in this picture we can see that this is the first point, that is the SA node. Fine. SA node is the first point where your electrical activity takes place or depolarization takes place. From SA node it moves to the AV node. This is the AV node. From AV node it further stimulates your AV bundle or the bundle of His. The AV bundle further transfers the electrical activity or the potential towards your right and left bundle branches. So, this is the right bundle branch and left bundle branch, and this goes upside and it conveys the electrical activity to both the ventricles with the help of Purkinje fibers. So, this is how the conduction of your action potential takes place. There are 5 steps, that is SA node, AV bundle, right and left bundle branches, and at the end Purkinje fibers. So, as soon as your electrical potential reaches from SA node to your Purkinje fibers, it makes a complete cycle and makes your heart beat once. Fine. So, that is how the action potential moves in your heart. Next comes the blood pressure. So, what is blood pressure? Blood pressure is the pressure or force which the blood is exerting on the walls of blood vessel. Whenever a blood is flowing through the blood vessel, there must be some pressure that the blood will be exerting on the blood vessels. So, that pressure is termed as blood vessels. Fine. So, when the left ventricle contracts, whenever your left ventricle contracts and it pushes the blood into the aorta, whenever there is contraction of your left ventricle and it is pushing all the blood present in the left ventricle into the aorta, it is termed as systolic blood pressure. Means your heart is contracting. Systole means contraction. So, your heart is contracting. At that time, what is the pressure? So, that pressure is 120 to 140 mmHg. Fine. So, this is the systolic blood pressure. Now, once systolic blood pressure is completed, now your blood has been exerted or has been released into the aorta. So, now when complete cardiac diastole occurs, means your heart is now in the resting phase. Resting phase means it has ejected all the blood into aorta and now your heart is relaxing. So, during this relaxation phase, what is the blood pressure? So, that blood pressure is termed as diastolic blood pressure. Diastole means relaxation. So, that blood pressure is 80 mmHg. Fine. So, whenever we talk about a normal blood pressure which is measured with the help of sphygmomanometer, that is the apparatus, and with sphygmomanometer we can use, if you are directly using sphygmomanometer it can be used, otherwise it can be used along with stethoscope, and we can measure our blood pressure. Fine. So, whenever we are measuring our blood pressure, we talk about systolic by diastolic blood pressure. So it is the blood pressure combinedly that we talk about, which is 120 by 80 mmHg. 120 is systolic blood pressure, whereas 80 is diastolic blood pressure. Fine. So your blood pressure is determined by the cardiac output and the peripheral resistance. Fine. So how your blood pressure is regulated? Fine. How your blood pressure is regulated, because in our daily life we go through so much pressure, so much exertion, that the blood pressure tends to change. So your blood pressure should not frequently change. It should be always in a stable condition unless until you are suffering with any sort of disease. So to prevent rapid fluctuation in between our blood pressure, we have certain type of regulation in our body. So these regulations are of two types. Fine. One is your short-term control, another one is your long-term control. Short-term control means which are showing immediate effect, and long-term control is for a long-term activity. Fine. So the short-term control or short-term regulation of our blood pressure is taken care with the help of baroreceptor reflex. Baroreceptor means pressure sensitive receptors. Those receptors which are sensitive to pressure change. So that is one type of reflex. Next is chemoreceptors. Chemoreceptor means those receptors which can sense the change in chemicals like H ions and oxygen content, carbon dioxide content in our blood. Fine. So that is the chemoreceptor. And third one is the circulating hormones like epinephrine, norepinephrine, etc. So these three things or the three reflexes, that is baroreceptor reflex, chemoreceptor reflex and circulating hormones, all together they are controlling the short term regulation of our blood pressure. But out of these three, that is your blood baroreceptor, chemoreceptor and circulating, the most important one is your baroreceptor reflex, which is a dominant one. Baro means pressure. So the baroreceptor means those receptors in our body which can sense any type of change in the pressure. Fine. So they are here, they are present around your heart section, that is your carotid area, where they can sense the change in the pressure. So whenever there is a drop in our blood pressure, whenever there is a drop in our blood pressure, for example, if there is a low BP, decrease in blood pressure. Decrease in blood pressure means your pressure has decreased. The blood that is flowing through the blood vessel is now flowing with a lesser pressure, and as the blood pressure is less, your baroreceptors gets inhibited. Baroreceptors are those receptors which can sense the change in pressure. So if there is more pressure, baroreceptor will be stimulated. If the pressure is less, the baroreceptors will be inhibited. So as the BP has dropped down, as your BP has decreased, baroreceptors are now inhibited. Inhibition of baroreceptor decreases the impulse propagation towards the brain. Fine. So the impulse that is propagated towards your brain has decreased now, and as there is a decreased stimulation of your brain, it further decreases your parasympathetic activity and increases your sympathetic activity. Fine. Decreased stimulation of your brain causes decreased parasympathetic stimulation and increased sympathetic stimulation. Now, your increased sympathetic stimulation has major effect on your heart, your blood vessels and certain gland, that is adrenal gland. Fine. So, here first is your heart. What is the effect of sympathetic stimulation on your heart? Whenever sympathetic system is stimulated, your heart shows increased heart rate as well as force of contraction. So, there is increased heart rate and increased force of contraction. Similarly, when we talk about blood vessels, when there is sympathetic stimulation, there will be much more of vasoconstriction. So, together, that is vasoconstriction along with increased heart rate and force of contraction increases your blood pressure. That is an direct effect. Now, sympathetic stimulation also causes stimulation of your adrenal gland, and adrenal gland now releases your epinephrine and norepinephrine, which are the hormones. Again, your epinephrine or the norepinephrine, they again have the effect on your heart and your blood vessels. The effect will be the same, that is, there will be increased contractility of your heart, increased force of contraction of your heart, and when we talk about your blood vessels, there will be vasoconstriction. So, altogether there will be increased contractility of your heart along with blood vessels constrictions. So, these two properties together increases your blood pressure. Fine. So, once your blood pressure has increased, we have started with low BP, which has now increased. So, this increased BP can now further will be sensed by your baroreceptor. So, again your baroreceptor, which was previously inhibited, it now comes back to the normal situation. Fine. So, that is a short term regulation. Now, we will go for the long term regulation. How in long term regulation, what is the process which regulates our blood pressure? So, it is the RAS system. RAS means renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system. So, here the renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system is activated whenever there is a drop in your blood pressure. So, a drop in your BP or blood pressure is sensed by the juxtaglomerular apparatus. Your juxtaglomerular apparatus is situated just along with the collecting ducts, that is a part of your kidney. So, it is present near your collecting ducts. So, whenever there is a drop in your blood pressure, juxtaglomerular apparatus senses that decrease in BP and it causes release of renin. Renin will be released from your kidney. Fine. So, this renin, what is the activity of renin? Renin causes conversion of angiotensinogen to angiotensin 1. Fine. It converts angiotensinogen that will be released from your liver. Fine. Angiotensinogen is getting converted into angiotensin 1. Now, this angiotensin 1 now gets converted into its further metabolites, that is angiotensin 2, 3 and 4. Out of these three, the most important one is angiotensin 2. So, the conversion, that is from angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2 is taken care with ACE, that is angiotensin converting enzyme, which is present in your lungs. Fine. So, your ACE converts angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2. Now, this angiotensin 2 is responsible for certain activities like vasoconstriction. Predominant activity of your angiotensin 2 or the direct activity of your angiotensin 2 is vasoconstriction. Along with vasoconstriction, it also acts on your adrenal cortex. In your adrenal cortex, it stimulates the release of aldosterone. Fine. Your aldosterone then further stimulates your kidney to go for the reabsorption process, reabsorption of more and more of sodium. And as more and more of sodium is reabsorbed, sodium is never absorbed solely, reabsorbed solely. It will be reabsorbed along with water. Fine. So, the major activity of aldosterone is reabsorption of water and sodium. So, as there is much more reabsorption of sodium and water together, it increases the extracellular fluid volume. That is, it increases the blood volume. So, as there is an increase in blood volume along with vasoconstriction phenomena, there will be increase in your blood pressure or normalization of your blood pressure takes place. Fine. So, here this complete process, that is, wherever there is a decrease in BP, low BP or there is fall in BP, it stimulates the first thing, that is from this cycle, that is the renin. Renin is released from your kidney with the help of juxtaglomerular apparatus. Renin will further stimulate the conversion of angiotensinogen to angiotensin 1. Angiotensinogen is released from your liver, which is getting converted into angiotensin 1. Further, angiotensin 1 gets converted into some other fragments, that is angiotensin 2, 3 and 4 with the help of an enzyme ACE, that is angiotensin converting enzyme, which is released from your lungs. Fine. So, once this angiotensin is in scene, this angiotensin 2 has a direct action, that is vasoconstriction. Due to vasoconstriction, your blood pressure tends to rise. Along with vasoconstriction phenomena, it can also stimulate the adrenal cortex. Once your adrenal cortex is stimulated, your release of aldosterone is stimulated. Aldosterone further stimulates the kidney, and due to stimulation of aldosterone into your kidney, it causes reabsorption of sodium along with water, and this increased reabsorption of water and sodium altogether increases your extracellular volume, or you can say it increases your blood volume, and due to increase in blood volume along with the vasoconstriction phenomena, there is increase in your blood pressure. Fine. So, here we have talked about the regulation of your blood pressure, how your blood pressure is taken care of, how in short term, whether it is short term or it is long term, how your blood pressure is taken care of, so that it should not fluctuate with it should not fluctuate at each and every moment. So, altogether our blood pressure is regulated with the help of baroreceptor reflexes, chemoreceptor reflexes. Then we have certain circulating hormones like epinephrine, norepinephrine, and in the long run it is the renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system. So, these four systems together, or the four phenomena together, makes up your blood pressure. In the conducting system of our heart, what we have gone through is, we have various parts of your depolarizing centers, which altogether make up a beat of your heart, where the first point is the SA node, from where it has started, that is the sinoatrial node. Then comes your, from SA node, next node that is getting stimulated is your AV node, that is atrioventricular node. Then we have the bundle of His, that is getting stimulated or depolarized. Once your bundle of His is stimulated, it subsequently stimulates the right and left bundle branches. as your right and left bundle branches are stimulated, your ventricles goes into a depolarization phase, which is getting completed in a cycle with the depolarization of your Purkinje fibers. Fine, which goes upstairs, upside towards the ventricles, and it completes whole of your ventricles. So altogether your atria and ventricles are getting contracted after, means in a one by one way, and it makes up your heart beat. Fine. Now the third point that we have gone through in this slide is your blood pressure. Your blood pressure is up of two types. We can distinguish it as systolic blood pressure and diastolic blood pressure, but when we say what is the blood pressure, we talk it together, like systolic and diastolic together. Systolic is the one where your heart is getting contracted due to contraction of your left ventricle preferentially. Fine. And once your heart is, your left ventricle has been contracted, it has pushed all the blood into the aorta. The leftover is the relaxation period of heart. That will be the diastolic blood pressure. So systolic by diastolic blood pressure together will be termed as your blood pressure. So this is 120 by 80 mmHg. So with this lecture we come to know about what is and how your conducting system of heart is working, what is blood pressure, what is the definition of blood pressure, what is the number that we designate for our blood pressure, and then at the end we have seen how your blood pressure is regulated with two of the controls that is present in our body, that is short term control and the long term control. Fine. So that is the third lecture constituents that we have gone through. The references here is Rosen-Wilson and again Tortora and Donald Cirizo. Thank you for your patient listening.